From your favorite video calls to groundbreaking medical tech, chances are you're using something invented by a Filipino and you don't even know it. Picture this. You wake up, check your phone, send a message, hop on a video call, and maybe even take an antibiotic when you're sick. All ordinary moments in a modern life. But hidden behind these global conveniences is a story few people know, a story that leads back to the Philippines. While the world celebrates Silicon Valley, Japan, or Germany for innovation, a quiet revolution has been unfolding in Southeast Asia. Filipino inventors, working in small labs, universities, or even home garages, have built technologies that power communication, medicine, energy, and even the devices you're using right now. Their names rarely appear in textbooks. Their faces don't make global headlines. But their inventions have shaped the way billions of people live, work, and connect every single day. From the world's first video call technology to life-saving antibiotics, Filipino creativity has reached every corner of the planet. From solar lamps that light up entire villages to microchips inside your computer, their impact is everywhere. And yet, most people have no idea where these innovations came from. So, the question is, what are these inventions? And how did Filipino creativity change the world forever? Stay tuned, because in this video, we're counting down the top 5 Filipino inventions the world uses every single day. By the end, you'll never look at your gadgets, your medicine, or even your light bulb the same way again. Let's begin. The spirit of Filipino innovation. Filipino innovation doesn't come from billion-dollar labs or global tech hubs. It's born from necessity, resilience, and a culture of creative problem-solving. In a country often challenged by limited resources and infrastructure, Filipinos have mastered the art of making things work. This mindset is known locally as discarte, a kind of clever improvisation. It's about finding smart, practical solutions using whatever's available. Whether it's a student turning scrap into a solar charger, or a mechanic repurposing old motors into water pumps, Filipino inventors thrive on adaptability and purpose-driven design. Their goal isn't luxury, it's usefulness, accessibility, and impact. Historically, this spirit was shaped by a blend of influences. Indigenous knowledge met Spanish craftsmanship and American engineering. The result was a generation of inventors who think across disciplines. They combine tradition with modernity and theory with hands-on experimentation. Filipino innovation often begins in humble spaces, garages, classrooms, barangays, but its reach extends far beyond local borders. Many inventions were created not for profit, but for community survival. From flood prevention devices to low-cost farming tools, Filipino inventors build with empathy and social responsibility. Even when funding is scarce or recognition is delayed, the spirit of innovation continues, quietly, persistently, brilliantly. This creative resilience has produced technologies used around the world. Yet many of these contributions remain uncredited or unknown. Filipino names are missing from global tech timelines and textbooks, but their impact is felt in hospitals, homes, and digital networks. They've helped shape industries like medicine, energy, and communication, and they've done it with minimal resources and maximum ingenuity. So what happens when we finally shine a light on these stories? We begin to see the Philippines not just as a labor hub, but as a source of global innovation and intellectual leadership. It's time to recognize the inventors behind the everyday tools we use. Because Filipino creativity isn't just local, it's universal. And now, we're counting down 5 inventions that prove it. These are the breakthroughs that changed the world, and the brilliant minds who made them possible. 5. The video phone, Dr. Gregorio Y. Zara. Before Zoom calls and FaceTime became part of daily life, one Filipino scientist had already imagined it and built it. In 1955, Dr. Gregorio Y. Zara, a Filipino engineer and physicist, invented the video phone. It was a device that could transmit both audio and video signals in real time. His patented creation allowed people to see and talk to each other remotely. This was decades before the internet, smartphones, or digital streaming existed. Zara's invention laid the foundation for modern video communication technology. At the time, most of the world was still using rotary phones. Television was new, and long-distance calls were expensive and unreliable. Yet Zara envisioned a future where people could connect face-to-face across distances. He built a working prototype and filed patents for his design. It was so ahead of its time that few understood its potential. His work was largely overlooked by global tech communities. But decades later, companies like Skype, Zoom, and Apple refined his vision. They built on the same principles Zara had pioneered in the 1950s. He wasn't just a scientist, he was a connector of people. His invention made human interaction possible across borders and time zones. Today, video calls are used for everything from business meetings to family reunions. Online classes, telemedicine, and remote work all rely on Zara's core concept. Every time you tap, join meeting, or start video call, you're experiencing a piece of Filipino genius in action. Dr. Zara's legacy lives on in every screen-to-screen conversation. He changed the way the world communicates, quietly, powerfully, permanently. And yet, his name is still missing from most tech history books. It's time we recognize his contribution to global connectivity. Because without Zara's vision, the digital world would look very different. He proved that innovation doesn't need a Silicon Valley address. It needs imagination, courage, and a belief in human connection. Dr. Gregorio Y. Zara gave the world a gift, a way to see each other, no matter the distance. And that's why his invention deserves to be remembered, celebrated, and taught. Not just in the Philippines, but everywhere video calls bring people together. This is Filipino innovation at its finest, practical, visionary, and deeply human. And it all started with one man, one idea, and one groundbreaking device. 4. The medical incubator, Dr. Faye Del Mundo. Dr. Faye Del Mundo is a legend in pediatric medicine and humanitarian innovation. She was the first woman admitted to Harvard Medical School, a groundbreaking achievement. But her most powerful legacy was built in the rural hospitals of the Philippines. In the 1940s, premature babies in provincial clinics were dying due to lack of equipment. Imported incubators were expensive, bulky, and unavailable in remote areas. So Dr. Del Mundo designed a solution using native materials and local ingenuity. She created a low-cost, bamboo-based incubator with simple heating elements. It was durable, easy to use, and life-saving for premature infants. Her invention didn't rely on electricity or complex parts. It relied on compassion, creativity, and a deep understanding of local needs. The bamboo incubator became a model for humanitarian medical design. It showed that innovation doesn't need high-tech, it needs heart and purpose. Dr. Del Mundo's work inspired similar devices across developing nations. Her principles are still applied in Africa, South Asia, and Latin America. She proved that medical innovation can be affordable and accessible. Her incubator saved thousands of lives and continues to save more today. But her impact goes beyond the device itself. She changed how the world thinks about healthcare in low-resource settings. She taught that empathy should guide invention, not just profit or prestige. Even decades later, her story remains a beacon for medical pioneers. She didn't wait for funding or recognition. She acted. And in doing so, she gave hope to families across the Philippines. Dr. Del Mundo's legacy is one of brilliance and compassion. She didn't just build a machine, she built a lifeline. Her name deserves to be remembered alongside the world's greatest inventors. Because her work wasn't just Filipino, it was universally human. And every time a baby survives in a rural clinic, her spirit lives on in the warmth of that bamboo box. This is Filipino innovation at its most powerful, simple, life-saving, and driven by love. 3. The e-jeepney, Philippine Green Movement. While the world talks about Tesla and electric cars, the Philippines was already building something revolutionary. In the mid-2000s, Filipino engineers and environmentalists launched a bold experiment, the electric jeepney. They took the country's most iconic public vehicle, the jeepney, and gave it a clean energy upgrade. The goal was simple: reduce pollution, cut fuel costs, and modernize urban transport. But the execution was anything but ordinary. Unlike global EV giants backed by billions, the e-jeepney was a grassroots innovation. It was developed by local minds, using local resources for local needs. Battery-powered, quiet, and emission-free, the e-jeepney was a game-changer. It didn't just reduce carbon footprints, it redefined what sustainable transport could look like. Cities like Makati, Iloilo, and Puerto Princesa began piloting electric jeepneys. They became symbols of eco-conscious mobility in Southeast Asia. And while the West focused on luxury EVs, the Philippines focused on public access. The e-jeepney wasn't built for the elite, it was built for everyone. It showed that electric transport could be affordable, inclusive, and scalable. The project also sparked interest from neighboring countries. Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand began studying the e-jeepney model. It proved that developing nations could lead in green innovation. And it wasn't just about the vehicle, it was about the movement. The Philippine Green Movement behind the e-jeepney promoted clean energy education. It encouraged cities to rethink infrastructure and invest in charging stations. It pushed for policy reforms to support electric fleets nationwide. The e-jeepney became more than a mode of transport. It became a symbol of Filipino ingenuity and environmental leadership. Today, electric jeepneys continue to evolve with better batteries and smarter designs. Some models now include solar panels and GPS tracking systems. Others are being integrated into smart city networks. And while challenges remain, like funding and scalability, the e-jeepney has already proven its worth. It's a reminder that innovation doesn't need a billion-dollar budget. It needs vision, urgency, and a commitment to community. Filipino engineers didn't wait for permission, they built the future. And in doing so, they gave the world a new blueprint for sustainable transport. This is Filipino innovation in motion, practical, powerful, and proudly homegrown. And it all started with a jeepney, a battery, and a dream. 2. The life-saving antibiotic, Dr. Abelardo Aguilar and erythromycin. Not every hero wears a lab coat the world remembers. And that's especially true for Dr. Abelardo Aguilar of the Philippines. In 1949, while working for the pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly, Aguilar collected soil samples from his hometown in Iloilo. From those samples, he discovered a powerful new compound. That compound would later become the antibiotic known as erythromycin. It was a medical breakthrough that changed global healthcare forever. Erythromycin became the go-to alternative for people allergic to penicillin. It treated infections like pneumonia, bronchitis, and strep throat. Millions of lives were saved across decades and continents. Hospitals around the world still rely on it today. But here's the heartbreaking twist to Aguilar's story. Despite his discovery, he never received credit or compensation. Eli Lilly patented and commercialized erythromycin without naming him. The company earned billions, while Aguilar's name faded into obscurity. In the Philippines, however, he remains a national hero. He's remembered as a symbol of brilliance and humility. His story reflects a larger truth about Filipino innovation. The world uses it, profits from it, but rarely acknowledges its roots. Yet the impact is undeniable and deeply human. Every time a doctor prescribes erythromycin to a patient, they're unknowingly continuing Aguilar's legacy of healing. He didn't just discover a drug, he saved generations. And he did it not for fame, but for science and service. Aguilar's journey reminds us that innovation can come from anywhere. It doesn't require massive labs or global headlines. It requires curiosity, dedication, and a desire to help others. His work continues to echo in hospitals and clinics worldwide, and his name deserves to be known just as widely. Because behind every life saved by erythromycin, there's a quiet story of Filipino genius and sacrifice. Dr. Abelardo Aguilar gave the world a gift, and it's time the world finally said thank you. 1. The microchip that went to space. Filipino engineers at NASA and IBM. When people think of space exploration, they imagine NASA, Elon Musk, or Silicon Valley. But few realize that Filipino engineers helped power the technology that made it all possible. In the 1970s and 80s, Filipino minds were part of the microchip revolution. They worked at IBM, Texas Instruments, and later contributed to NASA systems. One standout figure is Diosdado Bernardo, a true tech pioneer. He invented the first single-chip graphics accelerator for personal computers. This design made computers faster, more efficient, and more accessible. Bernardo's work became the foundation for modern computing architecture. His chip improved how machines process graphics and data. It paved the way for Microsoft Windows, 3D gaming, and space tech. But Bernardo wasn't alone. Other Filipino engineers joined the movement. They helped develop telemetry systems used in satellites and space missions. Their work supported communication between Earth and orbiting spacecraft. Filipino engineers contributed to circuitry, software, and data transmission. They helped build the backbone of global digital infrastructure. What makes this story powerful isn't just the tech, it's the journey. Many of these inventors came from modest beginnings. Some studied in public schools with limited access to computers. Others grew up in rural areas without stable electricity. Yet they rose to design technology that reached the moon and beyond. Bernardo himself grew up in a small town in Cagayan Valley. He walked barefoot to school and later built billion-dollar companies. His story is one of grit, brilliance, and global impact, and it reflects the essence of Filipino innovation. No matter where they are in the world, Filipinos continue to create, adapt, and inspire. From laptops to satellites, their fingerprints are everywhere. And it's time the world recognized their contributions to space and science. Honorable mentions: more Filipino inventions that changed the world. While our top 5 inventions stand out globally, there are many more examples of Filipino genius worth celebrating. Take the karaoke machine, often credited to Japan. But Roberto del Rosario, a Filipino, patented the sing-along system first. He filed his patent in 1975, years before Japan's version. His invention became one of the most popular entertainment tools ever. It united people across cultures through music and shared joy. Then there's Eduardo San Juan, a mechanical engineer from the Philippines. He worked on the lunar rover vehicle used in NASA's Apollo missions. His design helped astronauts explore the moon's surface safely and efficiently. San Juan's work contributed to one of humanity's greatest achievements. And in the digital age, we have innovators like Isa Mageno. She developed the salt lamp, powered by salt water, not electricity. It was designed for communities without access to power grids. Her invention received global recognition from the UN and tech summits. It's now used in disaster zones and remote villages worldwide. Each of these stories adds another layer to the Filipino legacy. They show that innovation can be joyful, practical, and life-saving. They prove that Filipino creativity is both human-centered and globally impactful. And they remind us that behind every great invention, there's often a quiet genius whose name deserves to be known. These honorable mentions are more than footnotes. They're proof that Filipino brilliance continues to shape the world. Why Filipino innovation matters today. As the world faces climate change, inequality, and digital disruption, Filipino innovation feels more relevant than ever before. It's practical, inclusive, and deeply people-first in its approach. Filipino inventors don't just build for profit, they build for purpose. Their ideas often emerge from local problems and everyday struggles. But somehow, they end up helping the global community. That's what makes Filipino creativity so powerful and unique. It's born from empathy, driven by survival, and scaled through ingenuity. These inventions aren't just clever, they're compassionate and impactful. They solve problems that others overlook or ignore. And now, governments and companies are starting to notice. Major tech firms are opening R&D centers in the Philippines. Universities are expanding science incubators and innovation programs. The global Filipino diaspora is bridging talent across borders. From Manila to Silicon Valley, ideas are flowing faster than ever. Filipino engineers, designers, and scientists are joining global teams. They're contributing to breakthroughs in AI, biotech, and clean energy. And they're doing it with the same spirit of discretion and resilience. The message is clear and long overdue. The world is finally waking up to what Filipinos have known all along. Innovation doesn't depend on geography, it depends on imagination. And imagination is something the Philippines has in abundance. If this story proves anything, it's that the Philippines is more than beaches and tourism. It's a country of inventors, thinkers, and quiet revolutionaries. Filipinos have shaped how the modern world works, often without credit. But here's the catch. Most of these names are still unknown. Their stories remain untold, hidden behind global headlines. So if you've learned something new today, help spread the word. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone, especially someone who still underestimates Filipino innovation and creativity. Because every time we celebrate stories like these, we spark something bigger. We inspire the next generation of dreamers, engineers, and inventors, not just in the Philippines, but across the world. And remember, you might be holding, driving, or talking through something, invented by a Filipino mind that never made the news. Let's change that. Let's make their names known. Let's make their stories part of the global conversation. Because the future isn't just built in labs, it's built in hearts. And Filipino hearts have been building it all along.